Hello, everyone. Welcome to the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every school offers a unique and different experience, and who better to describe that experience than a student that goes to that school? Our goal is to give you a first-hand perspective of every dental school across America and ultimately help you make the right decision on what school is best for you. Today, we'll be showcasing Maya Mathai, who is a second-year student at West Virginia University School of Dentistry. So, hey, how you doing, Maya?
Hi, good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Just glad to, get a little downtime from studying and these tests.
Always.
Definitely, definitely. So I just want to say welcome and thank you for taking some time out to, sit with us and give us a little bit about your experience so far at West Virginia University.
Oh, of course. I am excited to share my
Uh,
experience. I have to vent to someone. So,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So if you could, just give us a little background about yourself, kind of where you went to undergrad, where you're from, and then kind of tell about your story into dentistry, kind of what influenced you to go into the field.
okay. So I am from West Virginia. So I go to West Virginia University. It's in Morgantown. My family's only for like 30 minutes away. So it's kind of an easy decision for me to apply to WVU because I applied to other schools too. But one, West Virginia is just so it's cheap. It's very it seemed like a financially responsible decision to attend here because like I would minimize my loans and I'd be really close to my family and I would have to leave any of my friends. So that was my reason for applying. I chose dentistry in general because I always knew that I wanted to go into healthcare, and I actually did my freshman year in engineering and quickly found out it wasn't for me. And my dad and my brother are both engineers, so that's why I thought that I wanted to. And so then I just kind of looked into dentistry, and you get to help people, that you get to practice right out of school if you want to. You can continue your education if you want to. Like you get to make your own hours. It's still very like family compatible. Like you can have a family one day. And so I just thought it seemed like the perfect career for me. And that is how I ended up here.
Cool, cool. That's crazy. I was actually an engineering major when I started undergrad.
Really? Yeah, it's not very fun. I got into physics and I was like, okay, nope, bye.
I got to like Cal 3 and I was like, all right.
Yeah, catch me later. Catch me in something else.
Yeah, more than a page for a question is not for me.
Yep.
All right, cool, cool. So I guess could you describe a little bit about your school? You said it's in Morgantown. So how is that city kinda and how big is like your class size? Kinda describe like the environment at West Virginia.
Okay, so West Virginia is awesome. Morgantown is kind of it's a very fun city. We have about 30,000 people in our undergrad program. So, and the Health Sciences Center is actually, it's not on the same campus as the undergrad, but it's all in very close proximity. So we have a lot of students running around. The city is pretty small. I wouldn't even call it a city. I'd call it more of a town, but it's awesome. There's a lot of things to do. It's beautiful. West Virginia is just like a beautiful state in general. The class sizes are really small. One of my favorite things about West Virginia is that the class sizes are only 48 people in a class, which I think is a lot. That's the smallest that I've heard out of most other schools. And I think that just like gives you a really good opportunity to like, bond with your faculty. And like, I'm very close with like pretty much all of my faculty that I've had so far. And I've made a lot of friends and we're all basically like a family now. So yeah, so I think I covered it all.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, thank you. So I guess you said you're from West Virginia. I guess what was like your key thing when you were applying to schools, and did you apply to any other schools outside of West Virginia? And what kind of led your search when you were applying for, or looking into different schools? What were some key things that you were looking into?
So I did apply to a couple other schools outside of West Virginia,
Mhm.
just as kind of like backups, I guess.
Right.
But I always knew that West Virginia would be my number one choice just because, like I said, it's, the tuition is really very, very reasonable. And with, tuition skyrocketing, like,
Right.
in the past couple of years or in the past like 10 years. And it's just, I mean, it was just a very smart decision for me to do that. And then also, you know, being close to my family and my friends, and, you know, and Morgantown really, it is a great place. So I wasn't really ready to leave yet. So here I am.
Cool, cool, cool. So, you know, if you could, you know, take a step back to the past, and just remember back to your interview day, how kind of how was that experience? You know, like if you remember, you know, how was it showing up that day? How was it kind of what the questions they asked you? Kind of like a tour of the day.
Okay, so you go in there and everyone is just super nervous, and I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
And so you find the people that you're interviewing with. You know, they're the other people that are just dressed really nicely, and so they're pretty easy to track down. We do our interviews on Fridays, so we took the Friday off from school. Luckily, I didn't have class on Friday, so it worked out well. But and you show up, and basically you get a tour of the school in the morning, and then you do a writing exercise. So you'll, you know, write for about 20 minutes, and they're just like, they're open-ended questions. It's nothing like a test or anything that you need to study for. And then you actually get to eat lunch with a dental student. So if you're thinking about applying to West Virginia, I'm actually one of the people that, you know, you can sit down and eat lunch with. So I might get to meet someone out there that's watching me.
Yeah.
And then you get lunch, and so that's like a closed door conversation where it's just the interviewees and the dental students. So it's really nice because you kind of get the opportunity to ask questions that like you probably like, or you like don't want to ask, you know, like the faculty that's around, or like, you know, and we can give you like a more realistic viewpoint of what is actually like what we actually do every day. And so then you get to do that. They feed you, which is nice. And then in the afternoon is your interview. And there are our interviewing faculty. They're very nice, and you know they do want you. You know, you have to be professional, you have to be honest, you have to carry yourself well. But if you do all those things, then you should have no problem being able to like communicate well with them. And they'll ask like, you know, about things that you've written in your personal statement and things that you have in your application. And then they'll ask like personal questions like, what do you like to do, just to get a scope of, you know, what kind of person you are outside of school. So yeah, that's about how it went.
Right. So, you know, you didn't really have to go too far for your school. You know, you stayed in West Virginia, but how was kind of that transition from going from undergrad straight into dental school? Because you went from undergrad right directly into
Yeah.
school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, how was that kind of transition? How were those first few weeks and months? Like, did you guys have a orientation week that kind of helped you, you know, ease into the schedule? Kind of, yeah. Could you like kind of
Yeah.
walk through that?
Yeah, so it's definitely hard. Even for me being like in the same city, it's hard to go from undergrad where you have like 3 classes a day, maybe, to like all spread out, to having class from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday with no breaks. I remember we got out of class early on like the second day, and I went and I took a nap because I was so tired. I just like went and found a couch and laid down on it because I was like, I cannot believe how exhausting this is, and it's only the second day. And so we do have an orientation week. I'm actually a big, so we have the American Student Dental Association, and right now I actually I'm holding the title of treasurer, so I'm on the executive council, and so we plan these events for incoming D1s. And so we have, you know, the first day it's donuts and coffee, and we have a field day event that we do. And then the first week we'll have a guest speaker from, so last year we had Vice President of the American Student Dental Association, Jeff Kirst, come to our school and talk, and he's an awesome speaker. So like, I think the D1s really like that. But we do a lot of, and then we do, one of the biggest things that we do is a big little kind of situation. So every D1 is assigned a D2 as a big, and then we do that reveal at the end of the first week. And so then your big is just kind of someone you can go to like ask questions, and, you know, ask, you know, like, how should I study for this test? Because, you know, us D2s, we went through this last year. So I think that we're probably a really safe bet to ask questions about D1 here, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good like support system to kind of have, especially to make that transition easier.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, so once you actually got there, you started getting settled in, you got your big. Um, you said that adjustment was kind of rough getting used to the schedule. How is it, a typical day from start to finish? How is a typical day at WVU?
So a typical day, D1 is very science based. So, you think that you've like escaped science classes and you just haven't. And you go and, it's kind of almost disheartening whenever you go and you are doing so much more science and like, you're just like, I want to do dentistry. Like, this is what I want to do. In West Virginia, the only dental class that you have first year is dental anatomy, which is awesome. And I love it. And we get to learn how to wax teeth, which is super, it's frustrating and relaxing at the same time. Like oh man, if I could only go back, but uh, it's, and it is that it's very nice to like, you have to have a very strong foundation in dental anatomy. And so I think that we do a really good job of that. But it's whenever you have, physiology and gross anatomy, which is just will take up your entire life. It's just kind of like, okay, like I am ready to do dental things now. I'm sick of sciences. And then, whenever you get into your second semester, you pick up a handpiece for the first time, a drill, and, you're probably really bad at it first if you're anything like me and, pretty much the rest of my class. But it's awesome because you just get to, practice and do better and be better. And it's definitely tough, but it's all worth it. And you just have to be patient.
Cool, cool. So you guys have class pretty much every day from 8 to 4, like Monday through Friday?
Yeah, so we start every day at 8, and then some days, like I think Thursday last year we got out at like 2,
Okay.
but pretty much it's 8 to 4, 8 to 5 every single day. Except second year Fridays were clutch. We got out at like 11:30,
Nice.
or not second semester, sorry. And that was probably, I would give anything to go back to those, having that as a Friday schedule. That was truly amazing, truly a blessing that I took advantage of,
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And how is the schedule kind of set up? Do you guys have blocks where you guys, take classes for a few weeks and then have a big test block, or do you guys have system-based classes where you guys go through all the systems, have tests every week, or is it kind of PBL style? Like how is it kind of set up?
So we have this for the whole semester. We have the same classes, and
Okay.
then the faculty do not correspond with each other whenever they're scheduling our tests. So like, 1 week I remember first year, we always had our anatomy and physiology tests in the same week. And we're kind of like, okay, so we have these 3 weeks, where we're doing like a quiz here and there and like, and stuff. And then we'll have these 2 huge tests in 1 week. And so it just makes for like a very, very stressful week, especially whenever, quizzes and stuff fall in that same week. But it's doable. But yeah, I think that I answered that question.
Yeah. So it's more like block style where you guys have like 3 weeks of class and then like a couple of tests within the same week. So
Yeah, yeah, just about.
okay. So I guess for anyone, that's watching this and already looking at WVU or is deciding, if they want to go to WVU, what would you suggest that they kind of focus on now as a pre-dent or an applicant to kind of put themselves in the best position when applying to get in, as well as, put themselves in a good position that once they do get in, they'll be successful?
So definitely, as far as applying goes, being a well-rounded applicant will just get you so far. I'm sure that's the same with pretty much all schools, like a good GPA isn't going to get you very far if you don't have any community service. Like if you don't serve your community, if you don't do research, if you don't shadow, how are they even supposed to know you want to do dentistry? So, just like be a well-rounded applicant, even if you don't have the strongest GPA, if you make up like with other like amazing things that you do, then I think that WVU would really benefit from having someone like that. So
Okay, cool. And I guess like would you suggest that they, kind of take certain courses, or would you say just shadowing will help them once they get in to kind of help with that transition and for them to be successful? Or is it kind of, everybody on the same page when
I
they get
think that I definitely, so I personally was a chemistry major, and I thought that it would give me kind of an edge because everyone coming in is biology major.
there? Right.
I honestly feel like it didn't. I feel like being a biology major probably would have helped me out in the long run a lot more, because biology, you get all sorts of like we don't take any biology classes, but I feel like everything comes down to biology, and if I would have had a strong foundation in that, I think that it would have gone a lot smoother for me. But like, it's still absolutely doable. It would, no matter what. If you come in as a history major, like you can still, it's just going to take a little bit more work because you don't have as strong of a foundation. But it's definitely doable. So I would say it's like stack up in your anatomy classes, physiology classes, and basic biology, and that should coast you through a lot easier than it went for some of us.
Got you.
Yeah.
So you spoke about it a little bit earlier, how stressful it can kind of be, especially getting adjusted to it. How do you kind of manage your work-life balance in school? And does WVU, kind of help with the whole mental health and kind of, helping students stay kind of level-minded with all the workload that they get?
Yeah, so personally, I think that it's like really good to take like personal days. And I know that sometimes it just feels like you don't have time, but even like personal hours, sometimes I'll just take an hour and just sit and like just decompress. And like, I feel like whenever I do that, I get back to like, I get back to grinding like even better than I was before. And as far as like organized like wellness things that we do, actually the American Student Dental Association, again, we I don't want to brag, but we did win best wellness event at our district meeting this year. So we actually did we put post-it or envelopes on everyone's locker, and you wrote messages to people, like motivational things, and then you put them in there. And I think we got a lot of involvement. It was really awesome. And I think that it, kind of boosted everyone's spirits a little bit. We do things like we bring in therapy dogs sometimes so people will pet them. Right now we have a grateful wall up. So you just kind of write down what you're grateful for. And before that, it was like a goal wall. So you would just write down your, what goals you have for the semester, what goals you have in your life. So yeah, we do. And also we hold a lot of like social events. So, we do like a field day, and we hold like a formal, and, we do like social events here and there where you can just go and kind of like hang out with your class and not really think about school, but think more about, just having a good time when doing what you're doing, like right in that moment.
Man, that's awesome. Those are actually really good ideas that might have to implement some of those things
Yeah,
here.
if you ever need to pick my brain on wellness events, just, you know where to find me.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have to talk off camera for that. A little bit, definitely. So I guess for the most part, a lot of people that are going into school want to be, more clinicians and go into practice. How do you feel like the school kind of structures their clinic? If you haven't been to clinic too much yet, how is it kind of structured at WVU? Do you guys do pretty much all didactic work at the beginning, then do clinic heavy the third and fourth year? Do you guys kind of start mixing in it early? How is that?
Yeah, so something I am very jealous of the other schools is that I've heard that, people, or that D1s and D2s are doing like prophies, and we don't actually get to do any of that. So the closest we come, we are doing mostly work in like the sim lab, so in our pre-clinic. First and second year. Second year, we get to do a little bit more. We have rotations. So we basically do like assisting with the third and fourth years. And then we get to like go to all the different rotations and see how they work, see how pedo, endo, oral surgery, like restorative, how everything like works in our clinic specifically. And then third and fourth year is basically how clinic works. But I just have to say West Virginia is really, really, really amazing clinic experience. So West Virginia in general has a reputation for not having really good oral health. I don't know if it's for lack of education or, what reason, but we get people driving like 5+ hours to come to the school to get their dental work done, because a lot of people need, full mouth rehabs and all sorts of stuff that you just can't afford if you go to someone in private practice. So they come to our school. And I think that gives us a lot of experience working either closely with like the pros faculty and doing these really challenging cases, or we get to do, if they're within our skill level, then we get to do a lot of challenging cases too. So I think and I just think that the clinic experience at West Virginia is like no other in the country. And also we leave West Virginia, which I just found this out because apparently a lot of schools don't leave with a whole lot of extractions. We leave with like doing over 150 extractions. Yeah, if some people like do way more than that, but like you'll get it. I mean, like a ton. And I've heard other schools, barely reach the double digits in extractions. So I think that's really awesome. And I mean, it's not awesome, but I think it's really good experience, So I just, the clinic experience at West Virginia is top notch. And I just have one more thing to say about this. We always come out, we always hear about people coming back and, they hear from West Virginia, and these are practicing dentists, and they're like, people always comment about how graduates from West Virginia are skill levels ahead, like years of skill levels ahead of other students. Like, I'm not saying all students, but like, but we just get so much clinic experience that we are a lot more self-sustaining whenever we graduate, I think, than a lot of other schools. So that's
awesome. We actually, I believe it was we had to read a book first year. I think it was either Teeth or Into the Magic Shop, but one of the two. They were speaking of actually, a lot of people traveling going to West Virginia to get, dental care because it wasn't affordable in a lot of places, right? They didn't have insurance to cover. So
I mean, it is the most affordable place in like the tri-state area. So we get a ton of people driving like, hours and hours to come see us, and we fix them up. We do good work.
That's good. It's a great experience. What are some things that make your experience at West Virginia super unique that you wouldn't want to change about your experience there and kind of make it what it is?
So I am going to go back to the small class sizes. I think that's just really awesome. Everyone in my class has truly become like a member of my family. Like we are all just so close, and it takes a lot of like, the like competition out of it. I know that a lot of schools, like it's hard, you're like competing with everyone, but I just don't really feel like that whenever I go to school every day. I don't feel like I'm in competition. I feel like we're all really just truly trying to build each other up, and we're all trying to be the best that we can be, and we all can be successful. Like, it's not just like 3 or 4 of us are going to be successful. Like, we all have the ability to. And I think that having like a small like class size like that and having people understand each other and truly know each other really helps like portray that, I guess. And just like the time that you get with like the faculty members and like just knowing them on such a personal level is just, I would say that like some of my faculty members, we just we're professional, but we also like joke around. Like it's just like a relationship. Like, I just don't think that I would get at other schools whenever I have to, share them with, 100 other students. I think that would be a lot harder than sharing them with 47 other people. So.
Got you. That definitely can make or break the experience for a lot of people. So
yeah,
that can make yours. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up here. Just got a few more questions, but what are some, I guess, and this question's for not necessarily specifically for WVU, but in general, what are some words of advice or like some gems they can give anyone applying to school right now to kind of, help them through their process right now and kind of put them in a good position going forward?
So I would say definitely start early. Like, start doing things as soon. Like, don't be that person that's like oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it in a week. I'll do it in 2 weeks. Like that is a recipe for disaster.
Mhm.
So start early, make friends with your faculty, go to their office hours, ask them questions. If you miss things on an exam, go in there and talk to them. If you don't understand something, go in there and talk to them, because you're going to have to get letters of recommendation from them. And there's nothing worse than going and having to ask someone that barely knows you for a letter of recommendation. And they're like, okay, but what do you want me to write? And I had one person that I had to send like a personal statement to, and then all the other ones I knew personally, which like really I think helped me and helped to make my letters personal and stand out from like other people, I suppose, that maybe were in that situation. And then again, just be a well-rounded applicant. GPA isn't, I know everyone says that, but GPA is not everything. Like, you can have a 4.0, but if you are, not good at anything else besides besides studying, and then, you'll probably have to fight for someone with that, 3.6 or 3.7 that has all sorts of community service and has research and has, real life experience that they can bring to the table in dental schools. Because, when it comes down to it, everyone just wants like to make the best dentists that we possibly can. That's what all the schools want. And just because you get a 4.0 doesn't mean that you're going to be an excellent dentist. You have to have other skills too. So.
Right. No, I definitely agree. We always stress that here. Like, don't just focus on one thing, whether it's a DAT, whether it's a lot of community service. Like, you have to be well-rounded. Because like you said, it's so many different aspects of becoming a good clinician, outside of just knowing your grades well. So
yeah, other than being able to like regurgitate information, like
exactly.
I just don't, and don't get me wrong, like I do think that it's very important to
right.
know your stuff, but I think that it's also important to, have good hand skills and like make sure that that you do, and I don't know, be able to talk to people. Social is such a huge aspect of like being a good clinician. Like, you have to be able to talk to people, and I just so I think that that's just very important.
Yeah, completely agree. So we're going to wrap up here, but if you don't mind, if you would give, I guess anyone who has any questions for you, if you could give them your social media, your Instagram handle, or your email, whatever you feel comfortable giving out.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram, and it's at Maya Mathai. I'm sure that they'll put some spelling
Yeah.
somewhere. You guys can feel free to find me. Send me any messages that if you guys have any questions about anything. Like, my messages are always open, and I will respond. And I wish everyone the best of luck in applying and in their application process. It will be over eventually, I promise. Even though it doesn't feel like it, it will end, and you will be able to follow your dreams one day. So,
Man,
yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you again. We'll definitely make sure we put that information down in the description box so that everybody can get in touch with you if they have any questions. But definitely, on behalf of us at FutureDDS and all subscribers and viewers that are watching, we want to thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule, from your exam week, to really like sit down with us.
I'm just glad I could help.
Man, you definitely.
I love my school. It's awesome. Come here, apply here.
There we go. You guys heard it. WVU. Maya's definitely vouching for her school. So you know what? Thank you guys. If you guys haven't already, make sure you go down, hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know whenever we post up content. And keep viewing all these videos because we have a lot of great students giving you great advice on not only their school, but applying to school in general, and great advice on getting in. So you know what? Thank you, Maya, one more time. That's going to be it.
You're welcome.
All right, now. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Have a good night.